Average Woodsman here, back with another video. So today I want to go over some of my favorite pocket tools, things like Multitools, Swiss Army knives or SAKs. I'm just going to go over them, some of my favorites that I have. These are not all of them, all the multi-tools that I have and all the pocket tools, but these are some of my favorites, and I'm going to break them down, talk about each one of them, why I like them, what I use them for, some of the pros and cons, and just kind of do a video on how these are used in survival and in bushcraft, and why carrying something like this may actually be a better option than carrying something like just a basic folding knife. So let's go ahead and get into the video, because you definitely don't want to get caught in the woods without these tools. Alright, so some of the versatility or some of the benefits of it are the versatility, the portability, the reliability of something like a Leatherman multi-tool or a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. They both have their pros and cons, both have their benefits in the woods. Obviously, something like a multi-tool, you're going to have the ability to use the pliers. Like this one has, this is the P4. This is probably my favorite of all of the multi-tools that I own, with the exception of the Surge. These two are my very favorite. So one of the benefits of the Leatherman P4 over something like the Surge, which is a much larger multi-tool, is that this actually has a pocket clip, so it can be carried in your pocket. And I carry this one EDC quite a bit. Something like, for instance, the Surge, this is an extremely robust tool. It has all multiple blades on it, so you have your main locking blade, your cutting blade, then you have a serrated blade. So if you want to carry this something maybe like EDC, you could carry it for EDC. You could use this in your car, in your vehicle, for cutting something like, for instance, the seatbelt strap if you got an accident. It does have scissors. People tend to sleep on scissors, especially out in the woods. Scissors are super underrated. And then obviously you have heavy-duty pliers with this. And I've had this multi-tool for a long time, and it's super useful. And I've used it, I mean, countless times. The P4 is probably my favorite. It has one-handed opening. It has a good heavy-duty set of pliers, obviously, just like the Leatherman Surge, but it's slightly smaller, and all of the tools are on the outside of this. So you don't have to actually open this to access the other tools. Also, this one has a better locking system, a more heavy-duty, more robust locking system than the Leatherman Surge. So I really like this multi-tool. It's probably my favorite. Right here, you have the Rev. This is like a budget EDC style multi-tool. It has just some very basic tools in here. You do have a folding knife, a locking blade on the outside, so you do have that, but it's a decent tool for around the $30 to $40 price range. This one I've had for a long time. This is the rebar. It's not my favorite because all of the tools are inside of this. So basically, if you want to use something like the knife, it does lock. If you want to use the knife, you have to open the tool. Then it's like in this awkward position where you have to, use it like that, and then put it back away. So it's just not my favorite. It's more of an old school design. It's still a good, robust tool, but not nearly as good or well designed as these ones, especially these two. These two are my favorites. For SAKs, or Swiss Army knives, there are some benefits for a Swiss Army knife. First off, the design, especially if you have one that has like a large locking blade like this, the handle is far more comfortable to use than something like a Swiss Army knife, because you're not grabbing this tool with these rough edges, and it just fits the hand better. It feels more like an actual folding knife. And this one right here, this is a one-handed Trekker. I don't know if they make this model anymore, but it's one of my favorites. These two are actually my very favorites that I use the most. This one is the Outrider. This is my favorite of all the Swiss Army knives that I own. It has a very large locking blade on it. It has a large heavy-duty saw. This is more for crafting. You're not going to be cutting down large trees or anything like that with this, but this is more of a crafting saw. But it does have a 90-degree spine, so you could use this to strike a ferro rod. And I just have a lanyard attached with a ferro rod and a Fox 40 whistle. This is a small one. I don't remember the name of this one, but I'll annotate it in the video or put it down in the description. This is actually the smallest Swiss Army knife that Victorinox makes that actually has a locking blade. So if you want something lightweight and compact, this is an excellent choice. It does not have a saw or it does not have a saw blade on it, but it does have scissors, which once again, scissors are super underrated in the woods. People tend to overlook them, and it's really excellent. Plus, just like all SAKs, has the toothpick and the highly useful out in the woods tweezers, which you can get like ticks, especially if you live in a place that has a lot of ticks. Really useful. And then I just put it in this leather sheath that I bought and have a lanyard attached to it with a ferro rod. So this is a cool one. If I could have only 2 pocket tools, it would be these two. And this one right here is, in my opinion, more versatile, especially if you live in an urban area or a suburban area and you travel to the woods to recreate. This one is more useful, so if I only had to have one, I would probably pick the P4, because of the simple fact that it has a really heavy-duty, well-designed locking blade that's good for carving tasks, you know, skinning, things like that. It has a really good serrated blade on it, so in an urban situation, if you had to cut like a seatbelt because you got in an accident. Plus, it has a really good pair of scissors on it, which once again are underrated in the woods. And it has a really, really good saw for crafting and for striking a ferro rod. And then, of course, it has all the other tools on here that Leatherman's known for. So you have like an awl, a file, Phillips head, all those types of tools, flathead, stuff like that. First, and this one even has, if I remember correctly, pretty sure this one even has a yes, like a gouge. So if you wanted to use this for even, you know, some sort of other types of crafting, for making concavities and things like that. And then obviously is the Victorinox Outrider, because of the blade length, because of the size of it, the overall, the folding saw is excellent. It has a pair of scissors, and then you obviously have the toothpick and tweezers, which are excellent. Plus, when you're using this, you can do fine carving tasks, and it's not going to fatigue your hand, because this is actually really comfortable. It doesn't create hot spots because of the design of a Swiss Army knife. One thing I will say, in a long-term survival situation, or if you're someone who does a lot of fishing, a lot of trapping and things like that, sometimes having the pliers on here are really advantageous in carrying this tool, because of the simple fact that now I don't have to carry other separate tools. I can just carry my Leatherman. So if I, you know, need to remove a hook out of a fish's mouth because maybe it got too deep or something like that, I can use it for that. It helps with tying. It helps with when you're out on the trap line. I mean, it just has so many uses that in some ways this is more useful in the woods than the Swiss Army knife. So just take that into consideration. Both have their pros and cons. I like both. I use both. I'm just, personally for me, I tend to lean a little bit more toward a multi-tool, especially a Leatherman, because I've had such good luck with them. And yeah, I've had other multi-tools. I've had Gerbers and things like that, even some of the Chinese knockoffs that are direct copies of like the Leathermans and the Gerbers, and they're just not quite as good. I even had a SOG. So I've had a lot of different multi-tools and I have a lot of experience with them, but Leatherman is my favorite.